What's up again, MMA fans? I'm gonna do, like I said, the Ultimate Fighter 8 predictions here. Pretty good fights. Pretty good fights. I'm more excited for the Burns Johnson rematch and probably the Jason McDonald and Wilson Gouveia fights than I am the finals, because I think the finals matches are kind of one-sided, to be honest with you. I think that the two fighters that are probably gonna win are the ones that the rest of you think are gonna win. So let's get right to it. The first fight of the night we're probably going to see is Junie Browning against Dave Kaplan, and probably we all hope that Junie loses again. The way the guy acts, the way he is, the way he just like mentally broke and gave up in his last fight against Efren, a guy he called out repeatedly, jumped in the cage and acted like a little baby because he didn't approve of his style. Then again, Junie goes out and doesn't exactly excite anybody either. And then in his last fight, he just kind of, conceded it and gave up, and pretty much like Frank Mir said. But anyway, I picked David Kaplan any which way you cut it in this fight. I hope he goes out there and beats Junie, even though he is training in Extreme Couture. Your mental is what it is. I don't necessarily think that, you can instill mental toughness and heart and will into somebody. It just is or it isn't. Then again, Kaplan didn't have a great showing against Felipe in his fight. Kind of went out there and abandoned his game plan and got just, punched in the face a few times, fell, and then got choked. But hope Kaplan wins this fight any which way you slice it. Submission, knockout, ground and pound, decision. So obviously I go with Kaplan in this fight. Now on to the next fight, which is a rematch of a prior fight night card where Anthony Johnson ended up having to have eye surgery because of the poke, but Burns was awarded the KO decision. So there's going to be some animosity in this fight. And Burns I think he's got more impressive victories. I think, the Cornero submission is a very, very impressive victory, being that Cornero is such a well-rounded and well-known jiu-jitsu guy, and Burns was able to submit him. Johnson's feasted on some lower-end competition. He's 2-2 in the UFC. His two losses, I believe Rich Clemente, and his last one against Burns, that's still kind of up in the air. He knocked out Tommy Spear pretty brutally, but then again, Tommy's not at the level yet. And Johnson's a very big, tall, athletic welterweight. He's got great strikes. He seems to have a good range, a good feel for it. And Burns is also, he proved to be a very, very tough guy. And I think the fact Johnson will probably want to come in and knock him out so quickly could end up getting him caught in something. So I'm going to go with Burns via submission, first or second round, just because I think Johnson will be a little overzealous and try to atone for that getting poked in the eye and surgery and whatnot. So I picked Burns in this fight via submission. Now on to the next fight, Jason Athlete McDonald against Wilson Gouveia. Wilson's second fight at 185. He won his last fight against Ryan Jansen via armbar submission, and Jason McDonald won his last fight against Lambert via submission. Jason Lambert. Gouveia has also beaten Lambert by knockout, and before that he lost his fight to Goran Relic, I believe back UFC 86, I think. 86, I think it was 86, or I think it was 86, via knockout. He was stopped, which was very surprising to me. And I think Gouveia will win this fight because his stand-up is so much better than McDonald's. I think he's as good on the ground as McDonald, even though McDonald is very good on the ground. He ended up eventually getting caught by Mina because he kept playing with fire there. He was able to get out of some submissions, but so I would honestly put them equal on the ground. But I think Gouveia is a little bit better fighter, especially at 185, coming down from 205. I think he's a much better fighter, and he'll probably beat McDonald's. Could be a ground and pound stoppage, I think. Second round, I think we've seen McDonald kind of break in fights where he's fought against better oppositions. I mean, granted, it was against Okami and Franklin, Maya, but I think Gouveia is a really, really good fighter, and he'll stop McDonald via ground and pound. Now, on to the two final fights. The guys who made it farthest in the house to the show. It's the first time in a while we're seeing 2 weight class finals. They were changed the format where it was 1 weight class final. Now we're back to 2 again. Felipe Nover against Efren Escudero. Like I said earlier, I think we all have our solid choices who will win. I think Escudero will come in and make a good fight of it. He's a well-rounded fighter, but I think Nover is just, he's got that crazed edge, and when it comes to fight time, I think he lets go. He doesn't hold back. He just goes in there and he fights. He doesn't try to, set up his strategy or implement his game plan. He goes in and imposes his will right away, and he'll go in there and probably throw some big punches, get Escudero, rock him, maybe stun him a little bit, and take him to the ground, submit him, or ground and pound him. I don't think he'll try to waste time first, early second, ground and pound, or just pound him until he gives up a submission. So I'd go with Felipe Nover in the 155 final. Now to the next fight, Ryan Darth Vader against Vinny Malganalis, I think his name is spelled. They just called him Vinny on the show. And again, I think it's interesting. You hear a lot of fighters make predictions when they say they'll do things. They to be honest, they kind of ever rarely come to fruition. But I mean, every time Vinny said he would go to the ground and submit a guy within a minute, he pretty much did it very, very quickly. He was the second the fight would go to the ground, he said when it does, it'll be a submission, and he did it to Christoph, and in his prior fight, it was very, very impressive. I picked him to win this fight against Bader. Bader's strength is wrestling. He'll probably try to keep the fight on the feet, but we've seen Vinny be able to get guys down by pulling guard and whatnot, and once he's able to get the fight to the ground, it'll probably be a very quick submission for Vinny, so I pick him to win the light heavyweight final. So this looks like a pretty good card. Plus we got this one tomorrow, and in 2 weeks we got the Ultimate 08 card. So probably wait like a week and a half to do those predictions, because barring any injuries and stuff, how that stuff can play out. Hope you like the show. I hope you like the predictions. Until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. We got a good month coming up for our fights, and you guys have a good rest of the week.